a team of Birgit, from Reiki Home, Creators of Peace, and Stella, and Claire, and you Stella, and the Indigenous peoples of Trinidad, the chief whom you have met, were planning with the local Reiki community, were planning a peace conference in Trinidad in May. And we had a peace conference in 2018, and so this was going to be the follow-up. And we were told, I think there's an organization planning a peace conference in Trinidad in May. And discovered that IPRA, as you know, led by Matt Meyer and co-chaired by Hakim Mohandas Williams, were leading a peace conference in collaboration with this young lady and a team, Monica and a team. And so we wrote to them, a brilliant team, and we wrote to them and said, would you be interested in partnership? And we are very grateful that they said yes. So I want to say thank you to IPRA. I want to say thank you to the Reiki Home Creators of Peace Indigenous Planning Team and the co-chair, Birgit. And I want to thank the European Union Spotlight Program, UN Women, for assisting in supporting the event. So, you ready? You ready? It's going to So, we are delighted with this partnership. We are delighted to be here and really inspired by the global thrust for peace. And we know that the divine, by whatever name you call the divine, is in charge. And that with all the seeming chaos, I like to say it's the dark before the dawn. So, perhaps while we wait, I would ask each of you to say your name and your country. I mean, we have been meeting one another over the days, but it's always nice to connect with a name and a place. So, would you start?
I'm not the first one, but the first. Yeah. Also United States.
Hi, I'm Angela Blackman from Trinidad.
I am Camacho from Colombia.
Augusto from California, originally from Argentina.
Are you all hearing? No. Okay. So I'm going to be. No.
How's that? I'm Les Kurtz from United States.
I'm Planet Earth.
I am Angela Blackman from Trinidad and Tobago.
I am Camacho from Colombia, Creators of Peace.
I'm Augusto from California, originally from Argentina.
I'm Claire Francis, living in the US from the Netherlands and France.
I'm Birgit, living in Portland, Oregon, and US, and from Germany originally.
I'm Elizabeth Yamane, also living in Portland, Oregon, but my family is from Ethiopia.
Asian Rose, Trinidad and Tobago.
Magdalene Pereira, Trinidad and Tobago.
Hi everyone, I'm Candice Pereira from Trinidad and Tobago.
Sarai Rector, currently residing in Arizona, United States.
I'm Charles Osike from Kenya, Africa.
Margaret Jacob, Trinidad, Ghana.
I'm Ellen Valancourt Obiajenska, currently temporary resident in Massachusetts, from Vancouver, Canada.
Maria Schubert, originally from Hungary, then moving to Germany, and moving to New York City, and then moving to California.
I'm Michelle Jackson, in the US, New York City.
Hola, soy Esteban de Honduras.
Bhakti Watts, Seattle, Washington, US.
Paul Nelson, Seattle, also.
Hillary Robertson Hickling from Kingston, Jamaica.
Cyril based in New York.
Hello everyone, I'm Ilaria Tucci from Finland, originally from Italy, Europe.
Hello, my name is Mary, I come from Finland.
So I am Tayo Maslandi from Trinidad and Tobago.
Hi everybody, Kathy from Toronto, Canada.
Hi everyone, I'm Carlotta, I'm from Switzerland, living in the UK.
Hello, I'm Linda, also from Switzerland.
My name is Carrie, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago.
We're from Wiltshire, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, and a council member of Reiki Home.
Luis Rosa Perez from Aguadilla, Puerto Rico.
Hello, Marité from Argentina.
Lafia Akila Jaramugi, American Maroon, Trinidad.
Bill Presby, Detroit, USA.
My name is Matt Meyer. I'm from a town called New York City. Sometimes we like to think of ourselves as part of the United States, but not always.
Bienvenido.
Hola, soy Rosina.
Problem solved? Almost. Well, let me introduce. Oh, here it is. So let me. Marcella, it's loaded. So thank you for your patience. This morning I said patience is an essential ingredient of peace. Really. All right. So we have with us on the panel two panelists. Vivian Camacho and Innette Cambridge. Galileo Quinones was not able to make it. They will speak for about 15 to 20 minutes max. And then we will open to the floor. And we will begin with Vivian Camacho, Quechua midwife from the plurinational state of Bolivia. Bolivia plurinational because Bolivia actually formally recognizes the indigenous. She's the National Director of Traditional Medicine in the Health Ministry of Bolivia and part of the Indigenous Radio Framework. And the panel is focused on peace and healing ourselves and the earth. Vivian, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you, Rosina. Thank you, my sisters here on the table. And also thanks to the organizers. All of us made such a great effort to come here. All of us have come from our territories. All of us have come living our families, living different things, because we know it was necessary to join, reunite. Remember that we are strong when we are together. So thank you so much, Matt, for all the effort, for bringing me here. I have arrived from the plurinational state of Bolivia yesterday night, and tomorrow, very early in the morning, I shall be leaving back home to Bolivia. So I do really appreciate your time. I do really appreciate everything that has brought us here together. Let me say hello in my language. So mahpunja kachuntukuy kunapaj, hatunapaykuy tukuy gangunapaj. Nova suti bibi Camacho, Bolivia koya suyumanta tiakuni. That is my mother language. I belong to the Quechua nation in the plurinational state of Bolivia. As Rosina mentioned, we have struggled to have a new constitution. We have struggled to have our rights recognized. So, even though we can have different opinions, but now we are in the government as indigenous majority as we are in Bolivia. And now, actually representing my health ministry, we have the law for ancestral ministry. We have our indigenous wisdom alive and recognized. So I want to give thank to you all for being here, and please try to hear with your minds, but also with your hearts to remember. I'm presenting you this first slide, these beautiful flowers, and beautiful sun and moon, because it remembers Father Sun, Mother Moon, and remembers the flowers and the herbal medicines we have from Mother Earth. Next. We need to remember that health is a human right, not a business. We need to remember that during pandemic season, health has been treated like a merchandise. If you wouldn't have money, people were dying in front of institutions during the first moment. Remember this, we have seen this awfully. That's why we are struggling to know. This session is about how are we going to heal ourselves and heal Mother Earth. First, recognizing that we have our rights, and those rights must be struggled for every day. Even though we have won our civil rights and different rights until now, it's because our ancestors, they fought for it. Otherwise, we would stay enslaved inside different territories. That's why we need to remember, where do we come from? Why do we struggle for those rights? But also, another pandemic happening in the world, we have been denouncing this decades ago, hunger. How possible people having hunger, dying of starvation, how possible people, they have to eat from trash and they are treated like trash. like something that you just use and you just don't care about it. That awful situation, it's another pandemic that the world has to see. That's why we struggle for food. Healthy food is a human right as well. That's why we need to address this first. Our first medicine is our food, produced by the hands, by the efforts of simple, humble people, peasants, farmers all over the world. We need to remember this. But also to address the states, they are responsible for it. We need to be strong enough to demand this, to struggle for this. Otherwise, they will just wash their hands away. No, we need to organize and struggle for those rights, even inside the state. And we need to talk about health as a human right, but also as a social construction. We need to talk about social determination on health. What health are we having in places where water is polluted, air is polluted, your food is polluted with agrotoxic, agrochemicals, and your life is with injustice, you don't have work, you don't have how to feed your family, you are suffering racism? What health is possible there? That's why we are struggling for dignity and respect and social justice, for having health and human rights and our right to peace, to build it together. But we need to talk beyond this. What kind of health, what kind of view have we learned? We have learned from a macrocultural dominant system model, one model of health. If I ask you, what do you think is health? And you will relate to hospitals, pills, doctors, the white dresses. But this is a monocultural imposed system that has been imposed upon our territories with genocide, with the taking of our lands, with the extermination of our ancestral beliefs. So we need to remember again with the colonization that strength is still alive inside our territories, and we are millions of human beings with our cultural and ancestral wisdom alive today. Even they made the idolatry extirpation during the colony. Even they made inquisition, killing thousands and millions of wise women in Europe. They were healers, weavers, midwives. They were the guardians of life. That's why power, they want oppression systems. They want our wisdom, our strength just down. And they made us thought we were disappeared, and they made us thought that they could exterminate. But no, we are born now. That's why we need to remember, where do we come from? Next, please. So we come from those beautiful millennial symbols. Those rocks are carved beautifully, and those rocks have more than 10,000 years. So when you say indigenous people, they say, oh, their history is about 500 years. It's about 500 years of resistance to colonization, because our history is millenary. We all belong to Mother Earth. We are millenary people. It's not only 500 years. 500 years they came and then made us thought by forcing us, enslaving our people, taking our land, and also this prejudice and racism against us, saying in Indio, lazy, ignorant. No, that beautiful wisdom, scientific wisdom, brought us to life. We come from this ancient wisdom alive. Even that beautiful picture in the middle represents Father Sun, Moon, the plants, the animals, different creatures which are part of our textile, of the fabric of life. We all belong to them. They are our IU, family. That's what we need to remember. Human family, but also animal family, but also family is Father Sun, Mother Moon, the sacred mountains, lakes, rivers, the sources of water. That's why water is our mother. That's why in Cochabamba, where I was born, we are the only place in the world where we all struggle together against a company, a corporation that wanted to take our sacred mountain with our water source and sell it to us. So we resisted this. Now, I hope we continue to inspire another struggles, because it needs to be defended. Mother life, Mother nature, Mother Earth. Otherwise, corporations, they come, they privatize, they take everything and they sell it to us. And that absurd way of view, capitalism, neoliberalism, that absurd is killing everyone. It doesn't matter if you have your huge account bank in the world. You have seen during pandemic season, you wouldn't get attention. What are they planning now? They want to go to explore to Mars. And all of us, the rest of us, starving with poisoned water, poisoned air, poisoned food. So all of us, with our lives, are the basis of that pyramidal capitalist system. They say, no, we are not hurting. All of us are paying the residual effects of capitalism. That's why it's not sustainable anymore. That's why we need to say again, we need to unite again and say that's enough. Enough of poisoning water sources, enough of taking off our lands, enough of racism, enough of violence. That's why we are here together, to remember we all belong, we are a huge family. Next, please. And also we need to remember that picture, beautiful, was taken from the Kayawaya Nation. They were taken in 1920 to heal malaria because they were building the Panama Channel, and they are the healers that walk the sea, the mountains, the Amazon, the valleys, and they have a wonderful pharmacopoeia. They are still alive now in my country. And Kayawaya, the one that take the herbs, and we belong to Koya Suyu. Koya means herbs or medicine, Suyu means people. So we are the healer people. We are the place of the healers in our ancient name. It is recognized now in our constitution. Next, please. So healthy food, healthy life, and also social determination on health to talk about how to heal ourselves as well. Next, please. And it has to do with our ancestral wisdom. It has to do with our ceremonies. It has to do with taking care of herbs, but also rituals, but also our ancient spirituality, which is still alive. Even though they have imposed us with colonization and other beliefs, but our people are remembering because they have old ones, grandmothers, grandfathers, with their lives, they have taken care of it. They were prosecuted, they were murdered because of this wisdom. And some people with prejudice and racism, they prosecute our ancestral wisdom, calling it witchcraft or witchery, which is just a prejudice. Because it's the energetic healing system alive in this country, like they have in India, like they have in China. So it's like that. We need to remember everything is alive energy, living energy in plants, in animals, in ourselves, in sacred places. That's why we do offerings for Mother Earth, and we have ceremonies for seeding, for harvesting. We have the cycles of the moon, of the sun, ceremonies for solstice, for equinoxes, because we need to remember we belong to the cosmos. We come from the stars. We are Tawan Tinsuyu. Tawa means Iskay Kinsa Tawa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tawa, Inti, the sun, Suyu, people. We are the 4 peoples of the sun. Antisuyu, Kontisuyu, Chinchasuyu, Koyasuyu is still alive today in the memory of our people. Next, please. So our ceremonies bring us harmony and equilibrium. Next, please. We need to talk about how do we build this beautiful living well. Alimunai means do things with your hands, with your willing in a good way, with your power of will. But also it has to do from your heart, Alimunai, with love, with care, with a good feeling. But also it has to do with Aliyachai, with good thought, with intelligence, with clarity. So it's the coherence between your mind, your heart, and what you do. That's necessary for being responsible. That's necessary for organizing. Next, please. We need to remember that we belong to Mother Earth. It's not a thing. It's not, it belongs to me. We belong to her. She is our mother. And we need to remember this. That's why we talk about the health of Mother Earth. We talk about the dialogue between Western medicine and ancestral medicine. Next, please. So every culture has its own way to remember, its own way to produce knowledge, its own way to produce life. Next, please. So we need to ask, to whom are we looking for to be like that? That's why we need to ask ourselves, why Aren't we showing that we know how to live different, how to dress different, how to eat different, how to heal different? That's we need to address difference in another way and talk about decolonization and depatriarchalization. Inside the wombs of our mothers, our grandmothers, are the dreams they have seeded their children, they have seeded their tears, their blood, so we can be born today. That's why we need to remember that our mothers, grandmothers, they have taken care inside their bodies, inside their wombs, the new humanity. And now it's for us to remember that now a new humanity is being born because we are here. We are the dreams of our ancestors. What have they suffered? What have they dreamed for? What have they cried for? They dream that we live with dignity, no humiliation, no mistreat. That's why it's necessary to remember we belong to Mother Earth, we belong together. And also that beautiful presence says, Mother Earth, Holy Earth, inside you, our life is born, it grows, it goes to rest again. Inside you, our life is on, is off. We are your light, we are your body, we are your spirit. Our deep gratitude for the life and health of everyone. So our grandmothers, they always remember that we are together. Next, please. Our campesino people, farmers of the world, they are literally, even they have drought, they have to face the inundation, the drought, the flooding, different hard situations. It's because of them we have food in our plates. It's because of the campesino, peasant people that we need to remember they deserve dignity, being treated with dignity, campesino wisdom, ancestral wisdom. It's because of them, not corporations that feed the world. Corporations, we have a agrochemical corporation, agro-industrial corporation, we have medical industrial complex, we have a pharmacological complex, we have the water industry complex. All of them together, so for example, to make this poison from Monsanto company, they took the poison that in the war of Vietnam, the agent orange or agent was transformed in glyphosate. Now glyphosate, they poison the transgenic fields. So it's such a great business to poison our land, our food, our seeds, so we can consume that medicine they sell us. So we need to remember again, what is real health? If we have healthy water, healthy food, healthy water, those are our first medicines. Healthy Mother Earth is health for us. Next, please. Also in Bolivia, we have this law that recognizes ancestral wisdom. Inside my gestion, we have now about 2,000 spiritual guides, midwives, traditional medicine, naturists recognized by the plurinational state of Bolivia, and different names. So our spiritual, I mean, it's not taking the plant instead of the pill. It's not treating the plant as if it was a thing. It's not, I will replace this pill for this plant and continue my life with individualism, consumism in my life without being treated in another way. For us, ancestral medicine is not only naturalism. It has to do how you live your life, how you connect with the nature, how you connect with your spirituality, how you connect with the cosmos. Is your heart happy? Is your ancestor lineage happy? I mean, how do you relate with those? That's why we need to remember. Next, please. Next. So we need to gain imagination again with solidarity, with reciprocity, with taking care of each other, to remember that each of us has something nice, something clear, something beautiful and different to feed life, to support life. Each of us has a gift, different, nobody else. You won't be repeated inside human history, never ever anymore. Your gene combination won't happen again in history. That's why literally we are taking, please look at your hands. I invite you, look at those simple hands. In that hand lies the history of thousand people. They dreamed about you. They are supporting you. So in your heart, keep them in your heart. Because literally, you are the result of the best of your bloodline lineage. They have dreamed about you. Since you are now with your palm in your heart, feel your heartbeat. It is beating, it is pumping. It is the most beautiful miracle present. It's not magic, it's not witchcraft. It's remembering that life force is running through your veins. Imagine how wonderful it is. That's why we need to heal ourselves from hatred, from violence, from racism. Remember that this life is still here, no matter how painful situation we have passed. Next, please. So I'm high-level commissioner of Alma Ata Declaration for the first century. We have presented this in Mexico from different governments in North, Central, and South America. And in that document, we stated that health of Mother Earth is part of our health. Next, please. Different documents show this. Next, please. We have collected different situations from indigenous peoples in front of COVID-19 because we have shown that the ancestral wisdom is the one taking care alive inside territories. It was only 2 years ago that we wouldn't have any kill because we were in quarantine, suffering. Even people in the city centers, they wouldn't have any plan to heal. But our indigenous people, they went home to home with herbs, with medicine, with food, and also, next please, this beautiful example from Pueblo Shipibo Conibo, their spirituality. They would take herbs, they would make the ceremonies, but also the sacred chants, so they can sing for you. So your heart would listen and make your words, you would listen, so your heart want to live them. So your heart would be strong to go away with against COVID. And it was wonderful, wonderful situations that our ancestral medicine saved thousands of lives. So we have shown that its efficacy, efficiency, and it's very, very, very cheap, available for everyone because it's not a business, it's our right. Next, please. I'm a midwife, and I know that it's time of the new moment of Mother Earth. We are giving birth to another situation. We are giving birth like these healer communities, people that will take care of each other. Now is the time to join hands to make this happen. Next, please. So our Mother Earth, she is the most beautiful healer. She invites us to community life with agroecology, taking care of Mother Earth, with remembering that we are the change we want to see in the world, that like Mahatma Gandhi said, we need to make it now possible. It's not a possibility in the future. Hope is the motor. Hope is not waiting for something. Hope is making it happen with whatever resource is next to you. Paulo Freire, Brazilian, beautiful, he taught us, esperanzar, to hope, to build hope, to bring hope, is to join together and make the unknown be born. Lo no inviable, lo posible inviable. We will make it happen because we are alive now. With dignity, it's the time of flowering of the people. That's why I put over there hummingbirds and butterflies, which remembers the beautiful strength of our ancestors guiding our way. Next, please. We need to continue collaborating, talking north-north, south-south. We need to remember that recognizing and also value our feelings, our known and our knowledge and our ancestral practice, we need to address all of it. It is who we are. The root of humanity is millennial, the root of humanity. Even though you would say, oh, my ancestors, they came from the ships. No, your ancestors came from a sacred land. Over there in Europe, they have beautiful millennial people as well. So we need to remember this. Human root is millennial. Also, we need popular power inside territories to build health. Otherwise, we won't be able. If we think we are alone, if with egolatry, with individualism, with egoism, In this monocultural view, we are taught, they teach us to be just myself by myself. This is a colonial idea, because we need to remember we need each other to survive. This is colonialism inside ourselves when we think we are left alone, left behind. We need to remember that we belong together and we can help each other no matter what when we take each other's hands. Next, please. So we belong to this network for the Americas region, North, Center, and South, from health ministry, from research centers, from people's different experiences that are showing that health has to do with mental health, physical health, spiritual health. Next, please. Also, we belong to People's Health Movement. We are having our World Health Assembly in Cali, Colombia this December. I hope any of you could come. We are different people, not only doctors, because I went through medicine school, I studied in Cochabamba, but also in Belgium. So I was formed as a doctor, but my ancestors, my roots called stronger. I left everything and went back to community, because to remember that we need dignity, that we need to work for our people not passing hunger, our children with healthy food, our grown-ups being taken care because they are guiding us. So we went back to community to remember that health comes from community organized, community that respects and struggles for their rights. Because if we don't address imperialism, capitalism, it is just like nonsense, because our struggle is the patriarchal, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, to remember that one humanity is beyond frontiers, beyond colors, beyond those oppressive structures that are against our people, especially against the humble ones. So I invite you to this event. Next, please. And also to be closing my intervention, this beautiful figure is Mother Earth, which has to do with three aspects of Mother Earth. The earth above our heads, Hanahpacha, the earth here where we walk, Kaipacha, and the earth below our feet, Ukupacha. So up, here, and down. Those different forces make life exist. And this is part of our ancestral wisdom, ancestral cosmovision. But also we have those beautiful flowers and we have those beautiful healthy medicinal plants to remember that the first medicine is Mother Earth. She gives us food, she gives us shelter, she gives us flower to make our hearts happy, to make ourselves happy no matter what has happened. So we need to heal together. In 2019, in Bolivia, we have suffered a fascist, racist coup. This dress that I'm wearing now is the indigenous dress over there, recognized. It is the dress that my grandmothers would wear when they were little ones. And because they were indigenous, they were not allowed to school because they were punished, because the patrons wouldn't allow them because they were indigenous. And in 2019, our women, our sisters, they were spanked on the streets by fascists. They were organized fascist group that would spank women on streets just for having this. So our heart was broken because racism cannot be extinguished by law, which we have. But also we need to remember that diversity brings us new ideas, new subjects, gives us new answer. And we need to remember that even I belong to this indigenous radio. They went to burn indigenous radios. They burned Causachuncoca 3 times and they came to burn our radio. And one of our sisters, she was spanked and sent to the hospital because wearing this. So I present to you with this, asking my grandmother's strong strength. Because I know it's painful, but also I know we cannot be like the saint that hurt us. We cannot allow ourselves any hatred, any bad thought, any bad feeling, because we are different, and our difference is that we have come here not to hurt, but to heal, to restore, to seed again, to put our hands to receive new children and show them that the world is worth everything. And we know that we are stronger because we are here alive. Otherwise, we will be prosecuted. Otherwise, we will be some other, or making merchandise with our lives. But we have decided that our lives are priceless. We have decided and we know that everything works when we come together and we remember that we belong to humanity, we belong to Mother Earth. This beautiful flag is the Wipala. During the COP, it was burned because they don't want to recognize us. And it was only in 2019. For us, the Wipala is the beautiful difference. It's like the rainbow. Every color is necessary to bring beauty to our lives. So when we talk about Sumah Kausai, we talk about the most beautiful way to live. And that's why we are here. So I do really appreciate your attention, but close my intervention. I would love to invite you, please, would you stand up and help me with this greeting? I know sometimes we cannot do that, but I promise you will be just a small fire. Please, with me. Remember and bring your sacred places. Remember where do you come from. Please remember that fire, the strength of the spirit, is in humanity since we were humans. So with this sacred fire, I say thank you and gratitude to all the sacred spirits that brought us here. And also may we be back home safe, sound, good. And also we dream about, and our dreams become reality. We dream for things to become reality. We don't dream just for egoism. We dream for community united. So with this beautiful sacred fire, to all of you, may you take the light, may you take the wisdom, may you take the courage. It won't be easy because they prefer to go to Mars and destroy everything here. But we won't let them because we are deeply rooted since millennia ago. So we will have the answers and we will have the ways. And we will know when our hearts and our minds and our hands get together. To all the wise ancestors, to all the beautiful energies that brought us here, bring us back home, safe, good, wiser, stronger, with a huge capacity for love, tenderness, care. Thank you so much. That applause to all of you, please, a big applause to all of you.
What a powerhouse. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you for awakening us to who we truly are and helping us to remember. So, Marcela, muchas gracias. I did not recognize Marcela as part of the IPRA team, but she's been amazing. And Halcyon, I didn't recognize you as part of the Breaking Home Creators of Peace, Indigenous Peoples, and Trinidad Breaking Home community. Thank you. So, without further ado, I will ask Innette Cambridge, who is a university, she retired senior lecturer on social policy at the University of the West Indies, Trinidad, regional youth director former regional youth director of the Caribbean Conference of Churches, consultant to UNESCO. And the Caribbean Conference of Churches, on the All Africa Conference of Churches, and founder of the Peace Center. Thank you, Innette, for agreeing to be on this panel. I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Rosina. Good afternoon, everyone. And I want to thank my colleague here. I mean, this thing was just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. And I hope that what I add to what you've been saying will help us move more in the right direction in the Americas, because we are the new world. We are the new world, and we collaborate. Yes? Bueno. Okay. My topic that I've chosen to talk about today, oh, by the way, I have to thank Rosina and the organizers for including me. I was really touched when I got a phone call from Rosina telling me about the conference and asking me if I could take part, and I said, yes! Yes, I was so happy that something like this was taking place. So I'm talking about the actual theme of the conference, and I'm going to be actually bringing to light some of what we've been doing in Trinidad on that theme, rooted futures. In other words, our future, where the source is coming from. Visions for peace and justice. Now, I'm going to ask you all to forgive me if I'm a little in terms of getting this done. It was all set up, but I am not very, what do you call it? Not at all. And you know what they do now? They, like, you learn to use the thing, and then next 3 years they update it. And you got to learn it all over again. And then you know what I've noticed? I mean, this is besides the point, but I want you to understand the state of frustration I'm coming from in terms of this technology. The next thing they do is that they give you a nice computer. Good. And the thing goes bad just after the guarantees are done. I mean, it's a scam. Okay, but I'm not going to let them beat me. I'm not going to let them beat me. I'm going with it. Chukka, 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 chukka. Going with it. But so, we have to deal with this technology. All right. As I just pointed out, I want us to look at some of the inspiration coming out of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm going to be emphasizing Christian faith-based action towards dealing with these actual situations in Trinidad at the particular time of history of these people that I'm speaking of. Now, the two people, the person and the group that I'm going to be talking about one is Audrey Jeffers and some of the women she worked with, and the other would be the Caribbean Conference of Churches, and many of you would know of in your own areas, like the Middle Eastern Council of Churches, the Latin American Council of Churches, North American Council of Churches, European Council of Churches, African Council of Churches, and of course the Asian and Pacific Council of Churches. So we had a branch here too, which was very active in promoting the concepts of peace. So I'm going to talk about Audrey Jeffers and her legacy, the current impact of her work, the Caribbean Conference of Churches, the Peace Center and its impact, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of the recognition the Peace Center got from the United Nations in terms of being designated a peace messenger. So as representing the Peace Center, I'm supposed to be at a conference like this in Trinidad. That was the work I was given, okay? Supposed to be at a conference like this. And then I want us to look at some of the ideas for the future, or visions for the future. Because out of the imagination, that is where we begin to create new societies. That is how we begin to create a new world. And that is the imperative. We can't continue like we're doing now, you know. We can't continue to have a mindset that if I come by you, I must get bonds and things to get you out. It can't work. It cannot work. We cannot decide because you do one of my buildings, I will destroy your whole country. It can't work. It ain't fair. It ain't right. So we have to start to develop new visions of our society. It can't work that women can be killed at least once a month in the name of domestic violence. That's madness. And all these nice young boys getting killed. Can't work. Can't work. It cannot work. So we have to think of new visions. What do we want? Where do we want to go? And most important of all, how are we going to do it? That is the bottom line. Because you know you could always talk about your nice fancy stuff. But how are we going to do it? All right, who was Audrey Jeffers OBE? Some of you, the Trinidadians, will know her name, I hope. And if you don't, just remember when you're going on that highway across, going down to Ligo Martin, that's the Audrey Jeffers Highway. Anglicans may know that her day is celebrated in the Anglican Church on the 12th of February every year. And that has been happening for the last 10 years. Audrey Jeffers started an organization which is the only locally started, I don't use the word indigenous, but to us it's indigenous, but indigenous carries a different meaning to me. It's the only local social service that survived from the last century colonial times to the present day. Okay? So that is the significance of Audrey Jeffers. She was a pioneer, a politician, a social worker, and a philanthropist. A lot of what I'm going to be talking about, she actually used her family's money and got things started. Use her own family money. I almost have to emphasize this is a woman of African descent, because I had to include it. I used to teach social policy, and one of the things you do in social policy is you teach history. And we have had to go and discover a lot of our history. And as I included, I insisted on putting some history in the classes. And I remember explaining, and this is a generation that probably don't even know their name, especially those who are not Trinidadians. The Trinidadians would go on the highway, but the other Caribbean students, it has no meaning to them. And after the class was over, a very bright student came up to me and said, Dr. Cambridge, what she look like she's a white woman? And then I realized I had never had any visuals. It never occurred to me, that the assumption that a person who does this kind of work has to be white. Yeah, that's the assumption, and I hadn't realized that. And so in the class, I would put pictures of her. I don't have any pictures of her here, but I do have a book that was written by one of the women who worked with her, which people, can have a look at. So that we are looking at someone who is born in 1896, way back, middle of colonialism. She attended Tranquility Girls School, which is a secondary school here in Trinidad, and went abroad. Of course, when we go abroad in those days, you went to England, right? So you go to England. You didn't rush up to America. You went to America maybe later on in the 20th century to work. And then afterwards it became the style to study in the US. But you went to England and she studied social sciences and health. She returned in 1920 and started the Coterie of Social Workers in 1921. And this organization pioneered non-governmental social services in Trinidad and Tobago, and is the only locally founded social service organization to survive from colonial times to the 21st century. Now, what did the Coterie of Social Workers do? In collaboration with other women, and we have here, I trying to remember some of the women I heard about. Most of them I didn't know personally, but I think they have to be recognized. People like Olga Maynard. Olga Maynard, you remember Maynard, who used to be on the radio, his mom. Now, Keith Maynard, Trinidadians may remember. I haven't heard of him recently, but his mom, Olga Maynard, who also wrote this book, Beyond the Dry End. Some of the other women, right down to the century, included Maureen Ashby, Maud Reeves, who started a hostel for women, Louise Cambridge, Lystra Charles, who after Audrey Jeffers died, took the organization to another level. Now, when a lot of these charismatic people die, everything is mashed up in Trinidad. Things are a way of just disappearing. But Lystra Charles continued the organization, and it survived to today. Some of the people like Maureen Ashby helped the organization to evolve. Maureen started a Come Read With Me program, got technical training, use of the computer for the elderly women, etc. But the work that Audrey Jeffers is best known for is doing things like Sunday school feeding. She recognized the poor nutrition of the children in the country, and she organized a school feeding program. And later on in 1976, after independence, because independence makes a big difference for us. Independence, it means new schools are being built. Independence, we're getting housing projects so people can own their own house. Independence, we get a university and I could get a walk there. No, it's true. We didn't have all of that before independence. And so that is why independence has meaning to us, right? It's a very important landmark. And after independence, Louise Horn, who became a senator, was also in Parliament, and she suggested to Eric Williams that we have a school feeding program, which is now the school feeding program. She started women's hostels, and one hostel that I'm now connected with is the Anstey House. In 1935, she started day nurseries, most of which don't exist anymore because the government has now started to do early childhood education. And then later on, coach members began programs for primary school leaving children, literacy programs, because so many of the children had problems reading. Various fundraisers, the celebration of Mother's Day, celebrating Universal Children's Day, and most recently a webinar series where you look at things you want women to be aware of. And the most recent one is Love Should Never Hurt, which is sort of giving some insight into domestic violence and how you could, deal with it. Now, this came through her faith, her Christian faith, and therefore I want to share information about another Christian-based organization, the Caribbean Conference of Churches, which is a regional ecumenical body with 35 regional ecumenical body with 33 member churches across 34 territories, and it brings together across the communities Dutch, English, French, Spanish, Caribbean countries. It was started in the 1970s, which was a very active period for us. And this is the period when we had our Black Power revolution in 1970. And it was the period where we were challenging a lot of colonialism and a lot of stereotypes, a lot of how we should dress, how, sort of finding ourselves. And the Caribbean Conference of Churches was part of that whole experience. The organization was involved in the renewal of the church and Christian-oriented development action. Two key figures that I want to emphasize are Reverend Roy Nihal of the Presbyterian Church and Kelvin Felix, Father Kelvin Felix, who is now Cardinal Felix, and he's based in the Vatican. Their work consisted of a lot of ongoing activities in different sectors. There were units for projects, women, family life, education, Christian education, disaster preparedness. We weren't sensitized yet to the idea of climate change, but we were aware that you had to prepare for disasters. And so that it responded to the different developmental needs of the region. And I want to talk about the CCC as an environment for working. And Roy Nihal and Kelvin Felix encouraged people to think of things that could help to improve society. And I think this is very important for a work environment. You don't just come and do a work. You could be allowed to be creative, to take initiative, to do things that help to develop society and bring peace to the society. So that the youth department, there was a bit of a vanguard for change with the leadership training, consciousness raising activities, And one that I clearly remember was towards a higher level of Caribbean awareness, which took place in Grenada after the revolution of 1979. And the work of the youth department functioned like a peace center. So, you know, we do a lot of restructuring and rechanging, etc. So after the restructuring of the CCC, and these different departments did not continue, the Peace Center continued. And it did work. It got registered officially as a Peace Center. And this is in 1982. Okay, and we're offering programs in leadership for groups, human relation courses, youth exchanges to promote Caribbean unity and understanding, peace building and human rights. So that in 1993, a peace building workshop took place on Carib territory in Dominica. Other projects of the Peace Center include a UNESCO-sponsored workshop introducing peace education to adult educators, initiating the promotion of children's rights, which now has been taken over by the government, and the government lets us know that children have rights. And I was so glad when I saw them starting to take that initiative. And in collaboration with the Rajayoga Center and the Institute of International Affairs, we promoted the International Year for Peace in 19... Yeah, I am. Yes, I reckon. Okay. Got it. Okay. In 1986, we organized on our own, without government support, to let the nation know this is an international year of peace. And then in recognition of the work that the Peace Center was doing, and this I'm really proud of, and I used to take it for granted. I didn't think it was any big deal, but I think it's important. The United Nations designated the Peace Center to be a peace messenger, you know, which gives it a little stamp of approval. And now, what are some of our visions for the future? We've talked about the work that has been taking place. What are some of our visions for the future? And one of the first things I want you to leave here with is that we have to see the Caribbean as a zone of peace. That has to be a clear goal. I'm just starting with the Caribbean now. Of course, the whole world should be seen as a zone of peace. But you stick to what you know and what you can handle. The Caribbean is a zone of peace. And we need to develop the proper institutional structures to deepen that commitment to the promotion of peace culture. We have to begin to recognize a peace culture. That came out a lot in the programs that took place. The love shall not hurt, should never hurt. A lot of what was pointed out is that people, you know, can't control their emotions. They can't control their behavior. You know, a lot of it is about the whole peace culture, how you relate to the other, and how you know, men may assume, I'm a man, therefore you can't, you know, I have to discipline you or whatever. We have to develop a peace-building culture. We got to be able to collaborate and have solidarity across different communities. Definitely. And these communities, we need to be looking at building peace not only in the school and in the family, which is the in thing now, everybody's talking about, you need to get it into the schools. But I want to add the workplace. Coming out of my experience in the workplace at the Caribbean Conference of Churches, where you have an environment where your staff are considering aiming for a peaceful society, aiming for development, the workplace, in addition to the school and the family. And closing, we need to continue to develop individuals committed to making peace culture and the Caribbean as a zone of peace. Okay?
Thank you. Let's give her another round of applause. We have 10 minutes for interaction. Akila. Oh, sorry.
This is for Dr. Kimbridge. When we talk peace, I heard everything you said there, and right away, Haiti is just in front of me. And I am not staying still, sitting still, moving around the world saying, yes, we support all the peace talk around the Caribbean, around the world, and still look at Haiti right now as a war zone, and it seems as though no one seems to care about, bringing balance there. So, not just with Dr. Cambridge, but everyone in this room, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and it is deliberate. So how can we make a shift there? We can pray, we can meditate, we can send all the energies out there, but we have to stand in solidarity and, raise the flag for Haiti.
Given the time to take comments, questions.
I was fascinated to hear about what was happening in Bolivia in terms of the constitution and recognizing indigenous people. How was this possible? Did the politics change in terms of the leadership in politics?
I want to take the questions and then give the last word to the speakers. Is that it? One of the pieces that came out, for me in both presentations, was the power of women and the agency of women in building peace and building communities and in healing through their actions. So, let's go back to you both, and I will allow, well, the question was for you, but for all of us, the Haiti, so you don't need to come up with a solution. It's a question and an imperative that is thrown out for all of us to put Haiti on our agenda as a practical challenge for us to work for peace, a lasting peace in Haiti. But I'll give you a minute to put it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that comment. And it is something which has concerned me for the longest of time. I've done some reading and I've taken part in workshops concerning Haiti. And what I'm picking up, and I've also visited and, tried to get a feel of the place and so on. And what I have observed is a certain amount of powerlessness on the part of the population. So that, yes, a lot of aid is being given. But I remember talking, but it was just with somebody in the hotel. And by the way, in Haiti, you can come across some of the most competent workers, the people in the hotels. They are bilingual, trilingual, they are excellent, and they're communicating in English. You don't necessarily get that in Venezuela, and we can't talk any foreign languages. So don't try it. Yes? Okay, so that I have been always impressed with, the quality of the taxi drivers, etc. And then I said, well, why, what's about this girl wanted to do some studies? And I said, but surely with all the scholarships around, she says, look now, that is talking, c'est pas vrai, c'est pas vrai. And then I realized that the foreigners were given the money, a lot of the money in the aid, and it didn't get to the local people. And I learned that, a lot of things are controlled really from the outside. That kept coming, that message kept coming through and through.
So, yes, you want to, thanks. Vivian, I'll come back to you to close.
I have a question for Dr. Camacho. Yes, you spoke about ancestral understanding, ancestral connections. In the Caribbean, we do not have such a not everyone has a strong understanding of our ancestors because of the history we have, and there's a major disconnect. How do we, as Caribbean people, with such a large disconnect from the stories of our ancestors, connect with our ancestors not knowing much about their true story, just hearing one part of our ancestors' story? How do we connect?
I would say that it's a pity that you didn't hear Chief Ricardo Barak Hernandez, who is the chief of the First Peoples of the Santa Rosa community, because we have a rich ancestral history. And but I will give the last word to our powerhouse. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So for the question from my brother, none of our rights were a gift from no one. We had to struggle for them. We had to organize, unite. That's why we had the Water on War in 2000 on April in Cochabamba against corporation. Everyone stood together. We organized it. We resisted because military, they were so aggressive against people, and also for getting back democracy in 2019. It was amazing. From 2019 November until October 2020, during pandemic, we were facing the fascist, racist cup. And then came the pandemic advice for everyone, so everything closed, frontiers, quarantines. So we were facing the COP, racism against that, violence direct on the street, but also the COVID. So they even insulted us. One of the ministers, they insulted, he said, oh, those stupid things of indigenous. And people, they said, bullets killed, there were 2 massacres in 2019, Sencata and Guayani. They murdered our people because they went out to the streets to defend the right. they went out to defend that there was not fake results, because we are indigenous majority. So we have even my majority that we have 100% winning of the indigenous party. So what we have done is resist organized. During the pandemic season, people wouldn't have to eat, so they would hang flags, and people would cook for everyone, common bowls of food. So we would feed each other. Campesino people would donate, give as a gift food, so people on the city wouldn't be hungry. Imagine that. The humble people supporting, helping, even they don't have enough in the countryside, with such generosity, with such love for taking care of people, so organized community. And in less than 1 year, we went to campaign, we went to marches, because violence killed us, hunger was killing us, virus was killing us. So we decided we go together, we make the blockades, we make everything, so we won back again democracy in 2020, and we won again with the same results, high results from indigenous communities. So it's like that. If we don't remain organized, they will just, they just push us away. But if we are together we are strong. And remember that when we talk about esperanzar, the verb hope, to hope, I remember this beautiful, remember sometimes we think or we feel that we are facing this huge concrete wall, so hard, so strong, so invincible, because you are such a small and this is huge and seems powerful and that you won't never break it. But somehow, you get the wind carries a little seed into a crack. So inside the crack, you see the seed, and then somehow come the rain, and it waters the seed, and a little grain of sand, grain of dust, and somehow the sunlight wakes up the seed. And then you have the power of the fire, of the wind, of the water, of the earth, and somehow in this giant wall, the seed just pop, and then you see a little grass, and then more rain, and then it gets stronger, and then you see a little plant growing over there in the crack. How wonderful to know that life is like that, and each of you is the seed on the wall, because the wall of racism, of violence, of capitalism is falling because of you. You have been strong enough to survive different awful situations. We have been brave enough to remember that we are taken care, that we belong, that we are loved. And we are those beautiful plants cracking the wall. And this I was given by Matt. I will read this to you. Ashata Shakur, no one can stop the rain. Watch the grass is growing. Watch, but don't make it obvious. Let your eyes roam casually, but watch. In any prison yard, you can see it growing. It cracks in the crevices between the steel and the concrete. Out of the dead gray dust, the bravest blades of grass shoot up, bold and full of life. Watch, the grass is growing. It is growing through the cracks. The God says, grass is against the law. Grass is contraband in prison. The God says that is grass insolent. It is uppity grass, radical grass, militant grass, terrorist grass. They call it weeds. Nasty weeds, nigger weeds, dirty, speak, savage, Indian, wetback, pinko, commie weeds, subversive. And so the guards try to wipe up the grass. They yank from its roots, they poison it with drugs, they mold it, they rake it. Blades of grass have been found hanging in cells, covered with bruises, apparent suicides. The guard says that the grass is unauthorized. Do not let the grass grow. You can spy on the grass. You can look up the grass. You can mow it down temporarily, but you will never keep it from growing. Watch, the grass is beautiful. The grass grows into a poem. The grass grows into a song. The grass paints itself across the canvas of life. And the picture is clear and the lyrics are true. And the haunting voices sing so sweet and strong that the people hear the grass from far away, like we have come. And the people start to dance, and the people start to sing, and the song is freedom. Watch, the grass is growing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give yourselves, well, let's give both of our speakers another round of applause. And give yourselves a round of applause. The grass is growing. The grass is growing. The grass is growing. Oh, what? Yeah. Yes.
Please, if you feel that you need a hug each other. It's necessary.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Before you leave, let's form a circle.